This is Prime Crime Network.
Hey, good morning, guys. Right now, information is very limited, but right now we are on Appaloosa Road, and I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what's going on behind me here. It may be kind of hard to see because of the fog, but the scene here is still pretty active. You can see at least 4 Polk County Sheriff deputies' cars. Now, when we arrive on the scene, we could see deputies with flashlights searching the home of or the yard of a home here to my left. Now, we weren't able to get any closer because of the deputies had the area blocked off. Now, what we do know is that this shooting happened around 3:15 this morning. That's when the call came in, and information has been very limited this morning. We do know that a person was shot, and details surrounding who that person is haven't been released at this moment, but we do know that their injuries are none life-threatening. Now, right now, coming back out here live, I am working the scene to see if deputies have a suspect in custody, and we'll continue to try speaking with deputies here on the scene to give you that information, and we'll let you know as soon as we get.
Whenever SWAT made an emergency entrance into the house, we obviously, as the chief said, found the man deceased at the front door and the 19-year-old, but we also found numerous firearms. We consider ourselves very, very lucky today. Had he wanted to have a gunfight, he could have created a war. We saw numerous long guns, semi-automatics. We saw handguns with 50 caliber drums attached to them. So he had a lot of firearms. And the initial information was he possibly shot over his wife in the vehicle a long time ago, a month or 2 or 3. However, she did not report that to law enforcement at all. They worked through that on their own, and subsequently she put the guns in the back of her car, according to early information we have. Now, when and how the guns got back out of the car and into the house, we don't know. It appears at this time, though, from everything that we see, we also have 911 calls, which obviously we're not going to release now, where he talked to us and he begged us to shoot him. And we told him, no, we're not going to shoot you. And our negotiators worked fearlessly to get him to turn himself over to us. In fact, the officers, while hailing him inside the house, said, call 911 and talk to us, and he did. So we thought, well, we're going to resolve this pretty easily. What we don't know at this point in time is when did he shoot and kill the 19-year-old. But we know that there was a horrible situation. There was a hostage situation. He had these 2 children, and he made statements that he was using them as a shield, but not really. Don't shoot into the house. You might hit the kids. So he was dead set on shooting himself, according to the early information we have. And once again, as the chief said, we all came here to work this together. We were hoping for an appropriate resolution without anyone being injured, and we ended up with a murder-suicide.
We don't know about motive or anything.
Just domestic. And Josh asked earlier, we know that they all were at a party last evening, and apparently there was an argument after the party. But once again, this is 4 o'clock on a Monday morning, long after the party ended, and we were here about 3 hours. But the police officers did a magnificent job containing and controlling the event. SWAT team was called. We had the negotiators here. We did everything possible to resolve this peacefully, and he resolved it with violence, a lot of violence. Okay.
Prime Crime Network.
It was exclusive.
Yeah, breaking news, at least 4 people are dead after a shooting at a bank in downtown Louisville this morning. The shooter is also dead.
And at least 8 other people were injured, including 2 police officers. WLWT News 5's Todd Dykes is live at the scene in Louisville with what we know so far. Todd.
This is just an incredibly sad situation here in the heart of downtown Louisville. As a Kentucky native, this certainly hits home and comes 2 weeks following the shooting down in Nashville that left 6 people dead, including 3 kids. We don't know the ages of the victims in this mass shooting that happened about 8:30 this morning. I'll step out of the way. We're really right next to the river here. The shooting happening in the building behind me, you see there, that's referred to by Louisville residents as the sailboat building because of the way it's designed. It is home to the Old National Bank, and that's where police have said that a shooter, not unclear the gender of that shooter, went in this morning around 8:30, unclear what kind of weapon was used, but shot and killed 4 innocent victims. Incredibly fast response by Louisville Metro Police to get here, engaging in gunfire with that shooter. Unclear if a police officer's bullet took the shooter out or if the shooter took his or her own life. That's still to be determined, but we have been informed that 2 Louisville Metro police officers were injured as a result of today's events. One is currently in critical condition at the hospital, and again, a total of 5 people killed, including the shooter. There are 8 people who were taken to local hospitals to be treated for their injuries. So the best I can do, we're going to toss to some sound here in a second from Kentucky's governor, also a Louisville police official, but being here live, it's an eerie normalcy. That's the best way I can describe it. You're seeing a lot of flashing lights, no sound of sirens though, and it's a beautiful day, the day after Easter, when so many families were celebrating, but now sadly there are, about more than a dozen families that are reeling based on what happened just during a normal Monday morning on this post-Easter holiday. So it's terribly sad. But as I mentioned, we had some comments earlier, just within the last hour, from Kentucky's governor, also a Louisville police official. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
Again, at 8:30 this morning, approximately 8:30 this morning, Louisville Metro Safe received a report of shots fired and a possible active shooter at 333 East Main Street at the Old National Bank. Within 3 minutes of being dispatched, officers arrived on scene and encountered the suspect almost immediately, still firing gunshots. Officers exchanged gunshots with that suspect, and ultimately that suspect did die at the scene. We are trying to confirm if that suspect died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound or was killed by officers at this time. At least 2 officers were shot during this exchange of gunfire. One is currently in surgery at University of Louisville Hospital. At least 4 more victims were confirmed to be deceased inside the location, as well as 8 that are now currently being treated at the University Hospital. 2 are critical, one of those being the officer. We're currently working to identify all of the victims, work with their families for reunification, and provide services to the families and the victims. The investigation, I want to reiterate, is ongoing. This will be a long scene. It will take pretty much into the night. So I still ask that the public avoid the area. I want to reiterate that there is no active threat. We believe this is a lone gunman involved in this that did have a connection to the bank. We're trying to establish what that connection was to the business, but it appears he was a previous employee. It is clear from the officer's response that they absolutely saved people's lives. This is a tragic event, but it was the heroic response of officers that made sure that no more people were more seriously injured than what happened. We will continue to provide updates as soon as possible. We will have another press briefing following this at 3 p.m. today.
Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell. And check us out on primecrimenetwork.com.